in an election into bullying Donald Trump right off the ballot, with unelected bureaucrats declaring him an insurrectionist and saying he couldn't run. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court, in an extremely rare move, has ruled unanimously against that nonsense and in favor of former President Donald Trump. The liberal justices voting with the conservative justices that states may not remove Donald Trump from presidential election ballots. Some on the left, of course, are now accusing Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Ketanji Brown Jackson of betraying democracy. We expected more from you. We knew the lunatics on the right were going to do this to us, but you, the betrayal. Maybe they just exercised normal jurisprudence. Maybe they actually just saw the issue very clearly, as most normal lawyers did right from the start. We've got the best of the hysterical reaction for you. Plus, I cannot wait to get to this story. I have so much I want to talk to you about. 60 Minutes calls parents not wanting their elementary and middle school age children to read about anal sex and blowjobs in school conspiracy theorists full of fear and ignorance. You should know, Scott Pelley, you demonstrated yours last night on CBS News. Joining me now to discuss it all, Stu Burguiere. He's host of Stu Does America, and Dave Marcus, Daily Mail and Fox News columnist, among other things. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. Financial experts thought we were in the clear. They were anticipating around 6 rate cuts by the Fed this year, and then the inflation data came out higher than expected. This isn't going away anytime soon. How could it? The U.S. is $34 trillion in the hole. Stressful. And yet we keep printing money. We just keep printing money, which pushes the prices you pay even higher every day. So you can either bury your head in the sand or you can do something about it. One option to consider is to diversify a portion of your savings into gold with Birch Gold Group. Have you been thinking about doing it? Listen to this. Gold can be your hedge against this inflation, and Birch Gold makes it easy to own. They will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Text Megan, M-E-G-Y-N, to 989-898 and get your free info kit on gold, and then talk to a precious metals specialist about how you can choose to protect your savings from persistent inflation with gold. Text Megan, M-E-G-Y-N, to 989-898 now. Guys, welcome back to the show. There's a lot to go over. And the meltdown in the wake of this 9-0 Supreme Court ruling in Donald Trump's favor is where we have to begin. So, Stu, already we're getting reaction from those on the left about the betrayal they perceive from the liberal jurists and how to them it was just so clear. I mean, they don't understand Donald Trump is a clear insurrectionist. And how could the Supreme Court, which Keith Olbermann says we just need to move on from, betray us and be so confused in this way? What do you make of it?
It's a fascinating day, and it's amazing to watch all of this happen. You know, I'm for one shocked that Sotomayor was on board for this. I could have believed Kagan. I could have even believed Ketanji Brown Jackson would be on the right side of this. Sotomayor, who I don't have much respect for, I'm surprised. But a 9-0 ruling is good. It's the thing that the country needs. They need clarity on something like this, which is insane. And the Biden administration does all of this and cheers this stuff on, and the media cheers all this stuff on while arguing for democracy, which is such a bizarre, hypocritical thing. It's like their favorite form of democracy is the one where you're the only name on the ballot. And like, I don't remember that being really the way democracy works. It's shocking to kind of see this portrayed by the media as something that was serious. And that, I think, is, if you want to come off of all the really important things I think this means for the country and all of the legal ramifications, you can come off of that and just look at the way the society handled this, which is half the country was convinced that this was correct and true and obvious. And the only way this would be stopped is by the right-wing Supreme Court, who is unfair and always just rooting on Donald Trump. And then when you get a 9-0 ruling, real clarity here that this is insane and everyone knew it was insane. And then to see the way the media had just led people down this road over and over and over again and gets their hopes up, right? I guess if you're a left-wing person and you want no competition in the presidential election, you thought this was going to be a good thing. Instead, they embarrass themselves. And there will be no retribution. We will not see some retrospective from these media organizations. Why did we give this credibility? Why did we run articles? Why did we take Lawrence Tribe seriously when he was making these arguments? Once again, the media just falls down flat on its face with no ideas of where it's going from here.
Here's a sampling, Dave, of some of the reaction. Olbermann's always the best. The court has betrayed democracy. Its members, including Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor, have proved themselves inept at reading comprehension. And collectively, the court, that's in quotes, has shown itself to be corrupt and illegitimate. It must be dissolved. For good measure, adding, the Supreme Court is full of shit. Okay. We could keep going. As you might imagine, there's equally, well, maybe not equally, but similar hysterical reaction from people feeling that's the word, betrayed by them, that they didn't get their way. They are really looking at the Supreme Court, whether it is in the January 6th appeal that just went up and that they took on whether he's got immunity for these criminal acts, alleged criminal acts taken while president, or it's this case in which they said, no, individual states can't kick a presidential candidate off the ballot. They feel like the court owes them something. It's up to them to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, unlike Stu, I've always known that Sotomayor is a secret ultra MAGA Trumper. So I know a lot of people weren't aware of that. Now that cat's finally out of the bag. And
you know, he is doing better with the Hispanic vote.
There you go. No, but listen, I mean, this case in particular was the Mona Lisa of hypocrisy and projection. You know, Donald Trump's a threat to democracy, so we're not going to let you vote for him. I mean, come on. It was always completely absurd. But I think the good takeaway from this and why it's so important that it was 9-0 is that yet again, the guardrails of American democracy have held firm. Both sides, the left looks at January 6th and they say, we were 5 minutes from losing our republic. No, we weren't. What was going to happen? The Joint Chiefs of Staff were going to walk in and make QAnon shaman the president. I mean, it's absurd. and on the other side, it's like, these prosecutions of Trump and everything they're doing, it's the same as Russia, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not, because we do have these guardrails. They do work. The founders created amazing checks and balances. Americans throughout the century have sort of cherished and protected that. It's our job to keep doing that. And so really good to see a 9-0 Supreme Court decision on this case today, which really was, I think, a pretty obvious call. Totally
agree with all that. I want to run this soundbite for you. I played it for the guys in the Fifth Column last week. It's absolutely nuts, but it bears another play, okay? Because this was Chris Hayes reacting to the decision to take up whether Trump has immunity for alleged criminal acts. The left did not want the high court to take that case either. They wanted them to just let the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals saying he does not have immunity to stand, but they took it up, thus delaying the trial in federal court in D.C. on those January 6th charges until at the earliest, early July, but it's going to be later than that. But this is what you're going to hear from him tonight and from the left tonight, because they clearly look at SCOTUS as their last best chance to stop him and are starting to realize, actually, they're not an ally. Watch.
That they would rob the People's Department of Justice the opportunity to present all the evidence of his guilt. That the voters of this country, you and I, the hundreds of millions of us, might be robbed of the information we need to determine whether the man is guilty of the gravest crime any politician has been accused of since the Civil War. If you were hoping that Donald Trump's authoritarian disregard for the rule of law was going to be stopped by Americans' institutions and the court at the highest level, that hope is